family, so I had to write a short story for my writing class, and it had to be about a young person who's kind of coming of age and is kind of obsessed with something. Okay, and remember, short stories have a limit to how much you can write, and it has to be like still has to have the beginning and the end, and it's very concise. You can't write like 9, 20, 100 pages. So here we go. This one's called Bear Hut. Grandpa is out back with the bison. It's time to put them in a different pasture. I want to help, but Grandpa says it's dangerous. I'm strong, though. I moved many bales of hay yesterday. Plus, I saddled the horses so fast, and I'm not even scared of old Steamer, the black rooster. I even call back at him when he won't shut up at egg collection. Barefoot, breakfast is ready. Coming. Boar-belly bacon with buttered corn cob and honeyed fry bread? Thanks, Grandma. That's my favorite. Don't I know it? Eagle-taloned Grandpa entered the kitchen. Did you check them hides like I told you, little paw? I will trade them for more rope. Damn West Wind snapped my best one. He's distracted by a female in heat. I did. Good, said Grandpa Eagle-talon. Grandma Sunflower smiled as they ate. Grandpa, said Barefoot, when can I help wrap the horns of them bison? I'm brave. I've seen you do it loads of times. I'm ready. I know it. Grandpa Eagle-talon's face stood stoic. They'll rout you, little paw. West Wind is doing nothing but challenging all who pass him. Stay away from him. I done told you. It's not time for you. 2 more winters must pass. I have spoke. End of story. Grandpa Eagle-talon rose up from the rustic wood table and exited in the direction of the hung hides. Your feet ain't big enough to hold your ground yet, Barefoot. Your sun hasn't risen yet, said Grandma Sunflower. Feeling humiliated, Barefoot took the last bite of corn and went to run with his pet coyote. Hours went by, and he saw some ducklings waddling along the bison pen. As he chased them along the fence, he ended at the hut and saw a short rope hanging on the wall. I'll show everyone. I'm ready to be a man. He climbed on top of the work table and pulled the rope down. Maybe I'll wrap little Dusty's horns. He's not that big, he thought. Barefoot climbed the gate and landed feet first into the bison pen. He spotted little Dusty rolling in the dirt, making clouds like he always did. I just gotta be quick, and before he realizes it, his horns will be tied, and then I'll hitch him to the rail. As he darted towards little Dusty, dirt from the cloud went into Barefoot's eyes and blurred his vision. He dropped the rope, rubbed his eyes, and spat out brown spit. Little Dusty darted off. Ah, damn, exhaled Barefoot. As he started kicking rocks due to anger, a grassy poop smell caught his nose. Then a deep grunt caught his ear. He turned, petrified. His spine juiced with horror. There stood West Wind. Barefoot turned to run, running as fast as he could, his sides pinching his every step. He just had to make it to the fence. As he ran, a startled rattler quickly coiled and shook its tail. Barefoot lost his balance and fell. Westwind arrived head first and dug his scratchy furred head into Barefoot's chest. He could feel the jagged rocks cutting into his back. He screamed and tried punching Westwind's head. The slimy wet nose shot snot right into his face. A hoof pinched his inner thigh meat into the dirt, and Barefoot let out a pain-filled squeal. Westwind jerked his head around and punctured Barefoot's rib cage. Then, suddenly, warm blood dripped all over Barefoot's face, and Westwind collapsed, crushing him underneath. A leathery clutch of fingers grasped the clotted fur on the head, and the listless bison's head tilted upward. Then a veiny hand pulled on one of the horns until Barefoot was mostly exposed. A spear was lodged in Westwind's head. Barefoot, holding his side, saw Grandpa Eagle-talon standing with his arms folded. He said nothing. But the crows spoke. Grandpa Eagle Talon picked up Barefoot and carried him back to the hut. The sun had not set for him on this day. Okay, so in case you need a little bit of a recap, Barefoot, he and his family, they live on a bison ranch. They have bison that, like, kind of, you know how people have cattle, but instead they have buffalo, bison and buffalo, the same animal. And wrapping the horns so that you can pull them, and so when you want to change them in their pasture, sometimes you can wrap a bull by their horns and tug them into the next pasture, especially if you want to separate them from the females, because when the females are in heat, male bison go kind of nuts, and they're a little more agitated. So the character gets attacked, right? The bison puts his head down and kind of crushes him into the dirt, and then blows snot in his face. And Grandpa Eagle Talon has to takes a spear and puts it right into the bison, and it collapses on top of Barefoot, and he has to kind of, then Grandpa Eagle Talon, clutches the head of the bison to kind of pull him back and let little Barefoot get out, and then he picks up little Barefoot and takes him to the hut. And he didn't become a man. So the coming of age rituals are different in every culture, but a lot of young men, when they want, at least, and not today, but in the past, you had to do something really brave to be considered a man. And so in the story, he's obsessed with wanting to help his grandpa put the bison in the other pen and to prove he's not afraid. But West Wind is the oldest, baddest bison in the herd, and he attacks the young boy. And it's also, if you think about it, the character that I kind of wrote is that you kind of feel bad that the grandpa lost his best bison because his young grandson didn't listen. So he, so it's like a sad kind of ending, right? But it's like, lesson learned. Listen to your grandpa. He said you can't do it. You felt you were ready. You weren't. And, proof's in the pudding. So I like that story. I hope you liked it too. Just you have, when you're given an assignment, you got a limited time. You got to make it creative. You got to make it interesting for the reader. And these would be stories that we would read to the class. So everyone in the class has to read their story. And so I hope you liked that one. It's kind of a Native American-ish theme. And so, yeah, okay.